What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What?
That's a cutie.
To get today started off, we are going to be going for a nice little rip in the Evo 10 on one of my favorite roads around here. Bobby's least favorite road because
we drive it every damn day with you.
You ready for a cold start for the boys?
Yes.
Okay. Alright guys, we made it to the shop. This video is definitely going to be like a 2-day video, so today and tomorrow. All we need to do today is try and figure out what we're going to do for the downpipe and the lower intercooler pipe. And I have a pretty good idea, so I'm just going to set the camera up and try and figure this out real quick. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is get our mounts for the intercooler drilled. We had to put new brackets on the back of it because the old ones were broken off. So I'm gonna make sure it's all level, 100% good to go. And we can get that thing drilled up, fully mounted, and then we can move on to that lower intercooler piping. I think this lower intercooler pipe is actually a very, very easy solution. The only thing we need to do is buy a little bit longer of this straight 2.5-inch coupler here. And then from the turbo to the lower intercooler pipe, we need a 3-inch to a 2-inch 45-degree coupler, and that is it. We don't need to extend the lower intercooler pipe whatsoever because we have that coupler on there right now. As you can see, it dumps it right into the lower intercooler pipe. What I have in mind right now is just a temporary setup just so we can drive the car, and then later on down the road, if we want to have a very, very nice intercooler pipe built, we could drive the car somewhere to a fab shop or maybe learn how to fab ourselves, and then we could get it done. But I just want to get this car on the road right now, and having to trailer this car all over town, trying to find someone that could do this today or tomorrow would be very difficult. So now we just need to find a coupler. I'm not sure where to find one. Of course, we could order it online, but that wouldn't really benefit us whatsoever. So I do have this spare Evo 8 out here, and maybe by the grace of Lord Baby Jesus, there'll be a coupler in this thing or on this thing. Nothing on the 8. I'm gonna check over the 10. I don't think there's any sort of 3-2 on this thing, but maybe there is that we could borrow. Is this a 3? That might be a 3 to 2.5. I'm gonna make a few phone calls real quick, see if we can find something local. That'd be so clutch if all we could do is just buy a nice coupler and be done with that intercooler pipe. Wait, is that a 3 to 2 or 3 to 2.5? Hey, I am looking for a silicone coupler, a 3 to 2-inch. Is that something you guys would carry?
No, I'm afraid that isn't.
I cannot find a single one in stock here in Spokane, Washington, but I may have a solution. So let's try this out real quick. I always knew it was a good idea to keep a lot of spare parts laying around, and it finally came in clutch. We have a total of 4 intercooler pipes. All of them are 8/9 lower intercooler piping. So we have a old school ETS on the car right now, which happens to work. We have the one that was originally on here, and then we have 2 more. Every single one of these is a different style. So we have this ETS one, and it's off the Black 8. We just pulled it off there. Straight coupler right here, a 45-degree coupler right there from the turbo to the intercooler pipe. And it's definitely not the most beautiful thing in the world. It hangs down a little bit, but is that gonna work? Heck yes, that is going to freaking work. Issue number 1 resolved with our beautiful intercooler pipe. Now we have to figure out the down pipe. I'm gonna take that off, set that aside, and we can get that thing squared away. I am excited, and I think earlier I kept saying 3-inch. It's not a 3-inch, it's a 2.5-inch for the where the intercooler pipe goes onto the turbo. It's 2.5. I don't know why I thought it was 3, definitely 2.5. Okay, so we have our down pipe on the car. This right here is what we're trying to get situated. The down pipe elbow off the turbo is a V-band. This is a 2-bolt, like just the OEM style clamp. We need to trim this and weld on a V-band kind of at like a 10 or 15 degree angle. So I'm trying to source a V-band now locally so I can get that fabbed up, and then I'll just bring the down pipe to Austin's place and he can tack that up for me or weld that up for me, and we should be good. Kind of a temporary setup, but if we can get it running, then we can get it situated perfectly. We just ran up to my brother Austin's place. He happened to have this whole V-band set up right here, so we can make something work with this. What I'm thinking is just bolt one of these ends to that downpipe elbow, that turbo elbow, trim it, cut the downpipe, get everything lined up. We borrowed his circular saw so we could actually make some straight cuts for once, and then we can mark everything, bring it all back up to Austin's, and have it welded up. So let's do a little bit of cutting, a little bit of fab work, I guess you could say, and see if we can't get this thing situated. Well, I have realized I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to this kind of fab work. Check this out. This is how many pieces we had to cut. So first off, downpipe cut the V-band off. We had to make an extra spacer because I cut too much. Another cut, another cut, another cut, another cut, another cut, another cut. But wait, there's more. Another cut, and another cut. I don't know what I'm doing, but we got to figure it out. There's gonna be 2 welds, 2 pieces, and I think everything should line up fine. I wish we could weld it while it's on the car to make sure everything's gonna line up fine, but we got it marked. So it's gonna go like that. And then like, don't mind my non-straight cuts. Well, something like that is what we're after, and it should fit. Or at least be very, very, very close.
I don't really like welding with plastic.
Looks like dirt.
That's gonna flow fucking nice.
Probably make 300 wheel just through this downpipe.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, we got her all welded up, or Austin did. Looks pretty good. I think I want to Cerakote this thing somehow though, or do some sort of coating on it so it looks good with the rest of the kit. Let's head back to the shop, see if she fits. All right, so our downpipe is on and it fits. Everything's good to go except for it hits a little bit on the subframe up here. So I'm not sure if it got a little bit warped when it was welded or if my cuts and measurements were just not precise like they should have been. Regardless, that's gonna work for now. I think later on in the future, I'll probably add a V-band here because I do want to get this Cerakoted, but it's too big for our blaster. So if we add a V-band right here, we can drop this rear section down like maybe like 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch, just so it's not hitting on the subframe. And then we can actually get the whole downpipe Cerakoted so it looks nice and clean. But for now, that is definitely gonna do the trick. Sick. So what we're gonna do right now is pull the entire turbo kit back off. There are a few things that we have to finish up later on, such as polishing the manifold, adding that V-band, Cerakoting the downpipe, and then our wastegate is, what is it, pink or purple or something? Our wastegate is currently purple, so we're gonna order a new wastegate so we can get that swapped out later with maybe like a black one or a blue one, probably black. But for now, I just wanna get this thing ready to get the first startup out of the way, maybe do a little engine break-in. I don't think it's gonna happen today because there's a ton of little things to do, but let's just pull the turbo kit off, get all the gaskets on, get everything tightened down. We gotta do axles, finish up our clutch line. We have a braided line for that, finish up our shifter cables, and maybe a few other little finishing touches. So let's get started. Let's get as far as we can today. And maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow morning, we can get the first startup or do the first startup attempt and see what happens. All right, we got the complete turbo kit on. As you can see, that wastegate doesn't really match anything else that we have going on, so we definitely need to order up a new one of those. I'm kind of thinking black right there. Blue would look good. We might do blue if they carry a blue that is blue enough for this blue car. Now, before we go ahead and install all of the intercooler piping, we need to powder coat it. So it's all pretty crusty. This is the lower intercooler pipe that we're gonna be running. And then upper and upper, we gotta powder coat both of those. We did run wrinkle black last time, and while wrinkle black looks good, I think gloss black is gonna look better. It was a toss up between gloss black or a color, and I think the only color that we could have done would have been yellow, and I think that'd be way too much for this engine bay. So we are gonna powder coat them gloss black or ink black from Prismatic Powders. Okay, so as we are running through and getting all this piping powder coated, we can do a few other little things to the car. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and get our EBCS installed. It is a GM 3-port EBCS. This right here is the wiring for it, and we are gonna bolt it to the frame rail, probably right about here. So we can run that wiring up underneath the frame rail, plug it in, and then we have to run the vacuum lines over to the turbo and to our wastegate. I was gonna mount it on the frame rail, but if we can have it out of the way, you won't really be able to see right there, which is kind of nice. Let's get this thing plumbed up. Let me show you guys what we're going to do there. All right, so port A, which is this one here, runs to the top of the wastegate. B, which is lower, runs to the side port. And then C runs to the compressor right here. The only intake we have for this car, or for an 8 or 9, is a 3-inch. And that's a 4-inch inlet. So I figured for now, we're just gonna run this turbo guard. I've had this laying around, used to run on the 10, and I think we're just gonna run that maybe for now or maybe forever. We made a ton of progress. The exhaust, turbo kit, everything's fully installed. Intercooler, front power brace, oil cooler with the oil cooler lines. We got a few of the intercooler pipings coated. The last one is in the oven right now. Threw part of the upper on just to see how it's gonna look, how it's gonna flow, and I think I really like it. I'm gonna move on right now to this braided clutch line. So it runs all the way from the master down to the slave. And this is really gonna clean up the bay because the factory one runs all over the place. This one we can kind of tuck, hide out of the way. I'm super excited for this. If you guys want one of these, I'll link it down in the description box below. Clutch line runs from the slave under the frame rail up right here, back to the master. Super clean setup, much better than factory. Next up is replacing the shifter cable little clips. So these sit right on that bracket and the cables clip down into them. They're all pretty bent up and rusty, crusty. So I bought some new ones. Let's get that situated and we can get the shifter cables finally on. Went ahead, made sure she shifts, and it does, thankfully. Let's go ahead and do the axles right now. We can do that lower cross member / motor mount. Then as soon as this intercooler pipe comes out of the oven, we can get all of the intercooler piping installed and get the first look at how this bay is gonna look 100% finished up. All right, guys, last thing to do is get this intercooler piping installed. Here's how it turned out. Very nice and beautiful gloss black. We had to get that strut brace on there just to see all of the yellow together. In total, we have yellow power brace, yellow turbo, yellow valve cover, strut tower bar, and then of course the yellow calipers as well, which kind of ties everything from the engine bay together with the outside. The one thing that's really standing out and I cannot wait to get changed is the wastegate. We could Cerakote it or powder coat it, but I don't think that's really the proper way to do it because it is an anodized finish factory, and then you would not see like the tile or any of those engravings on there, which I know it's just minor details, but that kind of stuff does matter to me. Here is an overall shot of the entire bay, 100% finished up minus the radiator. And then if we ever decide to add an intake, we'll add the intake on there. So it'll just be a little pipe that comes up, filter sitting right there. Radiator goes here, radiator hose runs there. And we do have some other custom fab work stuff in the works. I don't know how long that stuff's gonna take, but trust me when I say it's gonna be a game changer for this engine bay. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right there. I feel like it's a good stopping point for today. All we really have to do tomorrow is do like all the fluids, radiator of course, bleed everything on the car, make sure it runs, see if it drives, all the fun stuff. So I'm gonna save all that for tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below of how this bay came out. I'm in love with it. I think it looks amazing. Little changes here and there and she'll be 100%. Peace out. I'll see you guys tomorrow.